for joining another session of Community Action Together. I'm David Bradley of the National Community Action Foundation, and our special guest today is Jennifer Godfrey, and she's the CEO of the Utah Community Action program in Salt Lake City. And I can tell you that I've been aware of this agency for many, many years. This is one of the stars of our network, and one of the ones that really make working with the Republican Utah delegation easy because of the work that Utah Community Action does. So Jennifer, welcome, and thank you for giving us some time. So Jennifer, again, thanks for joining us. How you doing, Jennifer? I ask everybody that. How are you doing? How's your staff doing? How's the community doing?
Yeah, no. Well, David, thank you for having me. I will say that we have started to settle into a new norm here in Salt Lake. And so really what we're starting to see is, we're providing services in a manner that we have never done before. Every day is faced with new challenges, and we are looking for innovative ways to really address the needs of our community right now. But I'm happy to report that all of our programs and operations are still up and running, and we continue to serve the community at large. And as you can imagine, we are also right now a resource in the network that for many individuals who've never accessed or needed our services before, they know we are here.
So that, particularly that 126 to 200% is important in Salt Lake, eligibility?
Absolutely, absolutely. We know that we are starting to see individuals who they may have been aware of the services we provided here at Utah Community Action, but that didn't necessarily mean they had to utilize those services. And so now we are seeing first-time members of our community reach out and access the services we provide. Right now, we're seeing about 122% increase in our call volume that's coming into the agency this last month. And that really is centering around rental assistance and utility assistance. And here at Utah Community Action, we operate 6 programs: adult education, case management and housing, which does include homeless resource centers, our HEAT program, Head Start program, nutritional services, and weatherization. And we also serve both Salt Lake and Tooele County, and roughly we serve about 55,000 individuals a year through our program. And so we recognize and see that this is going to be an increase in demand for our services at this time.
How the staff is teleworking, how difficult was it for your office basically to shut down and telework?
Yeah, I will say as we started to look at our business continuity plan, I don't think we had ever prepared ourselves to shut down all of our facilities across the county at one given time and for everybody to move to a telework model. It's been very, I would say not trying is the word, but I would say we were flexible. It happened fairly quickly. I think it took us about 5 days to move 600 staff to their homes.
Wow.
And I think what has been just so amazing is that we didn't skip a beat. I don't think, even though we had challenges making sure that we were where we needed to be to ensure that our staff were safe, the clients didn't feel the impact of the shift in the move, which is what our intentions were.
Your reputation, your integrity in the community has been phenomenal for many, many years. Is how you're responding to these twin crises, both COVID-19 as well as obviously the economic consequences. What's that doing for you and your agency in the community? Is it changing perceptions? Is it taking you to a different level?
Yeah, I will say as we started to settle in and we started to see what was happening in our community in regards to the COVID crisis, the first calls that started to come in were our Salt Lake City and Salt Lake County and the state making sure, hey, what are you guys ready for this? Do you have the capacity to meet the needs of the community that may be needed? And they reached out right away. We continue to have conversations with them in regards to how we believe we can support the community at this time. And I will just add one caveat in there is all of this and was in the midst, and we were starting to move staff home. We experienced a 5.6 magnitude earthquake here in Salt Lake, which is really unheard of for us. And so it just kind of threw another dynamic into the mix that really was testing everybody to make sure we were active and moving and were aware of what was taking place here.
Boy, you've had a lot facing you, and yet the team, Utah Community Action, the team, they're all there, they're all committed, and they're all working hard. Do you think it's going to be difficult? I've never asked this on anybody else I've interviewed. Do you think it's going to be difficult to go back to work as it was before this crisis?
You know, we were having some conversations with my executive team earlier this week, and I think what we're starting to recognize is Utah Community Action as we knew it will likely never be the same. Knowing that we are going to have to shift our operations, and they are already at a very much so different service delivery model. But we recognize that we are going to have to start to think through our waiting rooms. What does that look like? How does the food get distributed at the food pantries? Do we continue with the model of a curbside pickup that we currently have in place? What does that look like for our weatherization department in terms of going into clients' homes, and how do we ensure that our staff are safe? So I think we are starting to think through this in a longer phase process in terms of what we see today obviously will look different 3 to 6 months from now, but we will likely still be at a heightened state of awareness and alert around this pandemic. But we want to make sure that as we do this, we're being very intentional and thoughtful in our approach. And we do recognize that some of our practices and systems that we have in place will change. They will look different.
Yeah, the world is definitely going to change. I was on a conference call last week with Senator Romney, and just talking about how he envisions the world changing, and including in Washington, D.C. And you're right, I don't think we go back to business as normal. Going forward, is there any needs in the community that you're currently not addressing, or the community is not addressing, that you think will be a priority when the dust settles a little bit on this first wave of COVID-19?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we have been keeping track of is kind of the trends that we're seeing within our community. And I think that's what makes us unique, and really what makes Utah Community Action Agency strong during periods of time such as this. So one of the trends that we're seeing, and I can't imagine it's a trend that is specific to Salt Lake. I'm confident it's really happening across the country, but we are also seeing an increase in regards to domestic violence calls that are being reported. And historically, that has not been a partner for the agency, but we recognize during this trying time, and especially as we are waiting for our CSBG allocation to come into place, that our intent is to partner with one of our domestic violence partners here in the community to support their efforts to help stabilize these households and move them into safe environments during this trying time.
That's come up elsewhere around the country, and you're absolutely right. It is increasing, and the partnerships are important. When 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when people look back on this crisis, and hopefully this short crisis, how would you want the Utah Community Action to be remembered? How do you want to look back and view the agency's performance?
You know, what I hope comes out of this is that people remember that we were here, that at a time when they may have never had to utilize our services and we were just another nonprofit in the community, they remembered that we stepped up and we helped the community when it was needed. And I know for us, our service model will look different. The clients that we are going to reach out to will be new clients that will be accessing the agency. But I had a call, and I'll share this with you, David. I had a call with a client this last week who just wanted to reach out and share with us that she has accessed a number of services through the agency, and she has always felt comfortable with us. But during this trying time, we had some case managers that were continuing to reach out to her because we knew she needed some support. And she wanted to make sure that I was aware that during all of this chaos and this transition for the agency, we didn't forget about her, and that we made the effort to reach out to her. And she said, more than ever, I feel connected, and I know you were there for me. And I think stories like that is what keep us moving. And it is truly such an honor, I think, to be a part of that. But also, I want the community to remember and recognize my staff that were out there passing out meals every day. The staff member who picked up and reached out to a client who needed that voice of reassurance during that time of need. That's what I want us to be remembered for during this time.
That's a great thing to remember. Jennifer, I want to thank you for a lot of things, for taking the helm of a terrific agency, for your commitment to the program, and we're lucky to have you working in the program. And also, I want to wish you and your family, your staff, and the community absolutely the best in these very difficult times. But it's with agencies like yours that I'm absolutely confident our communities are going to heal, people are going to be helped, and they are going to look back and say, thank heavens community action was there. Jennifer, thanks a lot. Wish you the best.
Thank you, David.
Bye-bye.